Hey Canberra, here's to another journal entry. In today's entry, we have Cookbook episode 1, in which I filmed the process of me baking and decorating a cake, which it took a while, but I persevered. To the cake was a caramel chocolate cake, and it was a baby shower. I think gender reveal, one of the two. But I had fun doing it, and I hope you have fun watching the process. Tadams, it's a voiceover. The first thing I started with were the toppers because I knew that would take the longest of times. And with these styrofoam balls, I painted over with gold luster dust and then sprinkled shimmers on top, followed by prepping my pans. I like prepping before I actually start baking. With the pans, I use spring foam pans, and then I put baking paper inside and then cut it to size. Next up, we have one of the most stressful things ever, which is the sponge in itself, because it's full of measurements and whatnot. So in the first bowl, I put 2 cups of flour, 2 teaspoons baking powder, 1 teaspoon baking soda, and 5 tablespoons of cocoa. I use a lot of cocoa because I like my chocolate sponges to be very, very, very chocolatey. What's a chocolate cake without it being very chocolatey? I mix it until it has no lumps and everything is properly incorporated. In the next bowl, I put 2 eggs and 1 cup of sugar, and I think a cup of vanilla essence, just to bring out the chocolatey flavor a bit more, and a cup of almond essence. And the reason I put almond essence is because it's very nutty and it complements the chocolate flavor so well. So I cream together my eggs and sugar to add and then I add a cup of oil and a cup of hot water to bloom the cocoa in itself. I then mix everything together until it is well combined, and I love using this spatula because it's very flexible and it gets everything done. I can use it for anything and everything. Next up, I add my creamed mixture, to make everything come together quite nicely. I like how smooth the batter is after I add this mixture. It just ties it together very well. While I'm doing all this, I've already preheated the oven. I crank it up to 180 degrees top and bottom, and I use the middle rack to bake. I bake one cake pan at a time so that everything is well baked. I used to put 2 cakes in at a time, but I found that makes the baking time longer and they don't cook all the way through. Look at that. Wait. Ta-da! We have a well baked cake. I like wrapping my cakes when they're still warm so that I can trap the air inside, which makes it a lot more moist than it would be if I had just, put it away like that. I like wrapping it up and putting it in the freezer until it's ready. While the cakes are cooling, I like to get a head start on my custard. I love filling my cakes with custard because I'd love to think that it just makes it more moist and it adds more to the experience. I don't like filling them with buttercream. So for my custard, I use 25 grams cornstarch, 25 grams flour, 60 grams of sugar, a pinch of salt, a whole egg and 1 egg yolk. Mix it until it makes a runny paste like that. And then in a separate bowl, I add a cup of milk and 2 mils of vanilla extract or so. Because this was a caramel custard, I added a scoop of caramel. I didn't really dissolve it because I knew it was gonna dissolve, in the pan while it's cooking. Also, the process of making custard is so tedious because you have to continuously mix. Once it's on the stove, you can't stop mixing, otherwise it will be so clumpy, it won't be pleasing to the eye, because you have to eat with your eyes first. Presentation is everything. I did a whole lot of mixing. Then I left my custard to cool in the fridge while I started prepping the cake for the decorating part. This takes the longest of times in comparison to baking and prepping all the ingredients and mixing. I spend the most time decorating. First, I trimmed the cake and then I smothered it with milk so that it can become a lot more moist. I think moist is my favorite word, if you haven't noticed, because I don't know how many times I've said that word. I create a border so that I can put my fillings in. If I don't make this border, everything will go everywhere. Keke is the panza filling and it won't be nice. Cakes will be falling everywhere. I first layered the caramel, whipped caramel, if I may add, followed by the custard. Also, I think chocolate and caramel has to be one of the best flavors ever. Following double chocolate, of course, and then I layer my cake, and then after layering it, I put it in the freezer for like 2 minutes, nyana, so that it can be stiff and that the crumbs can come together before I do a crumb coat. I don't like a messy crumb coat, and if I don't put it in the freezer, best believe the crumb coat would be messy. Yeah, I was crumb coating. Look at how nice that crumb coat is. That's a testament of putting it in the fridge. Ta-dams! We're doing a gradient cake. I use piping bags to put my buttercream in because I don't like slapping it on. I feel like it makes it harder to control the buttercream once I'm smoothing it out. First, I smooth out the top because I feel like it makes the edges neater. Oh, sana scraping. I don't like this. I think I don't like everything that has to do with anything, but I love the whole process in itself. Do you see how smooth that buttercream is? Tell me I didn't do a good job. Tell me I didn't do a great job. I love the whole design of this cake because it was straightforward and quite simple. I enjoyed it. It was very simple, very cutesy, not too shabby. And here we have the finished product. Woo! I hope you enjoyed. Till next time.